Welcome to another episode of the Entreprenudist Podcast, a place to hear real entrepreneurs and business owners bear it all. And we do have another special guest, the true definition of the word entrepreneur. Before we bring them on, I want to let you know that this episode is brought to you by Shield Wolf Strongholds, a wealth growth and protection company when it comes to employment benefits planning, when it comes to retirement planning, when it comes to estate planning. If you plan not Shield Wolf, you plan not strong. Now to our guests. Jack Hanks leads the fastest growing public adjusting firm in the country, is widely recognized as the industry thought pioneer, and continues to push the envelope to help property owners get what they deserve, to be treated with dignity and receive fair compensation for their property damage. Jack is a keynote speaker, national industry icon, and was voted the public adjuster of the year in 2021. Jack has over 30 years of industry experience and continues to lead the way. Jack cares so much about making the industry better. He trains his competition. Jack firmly believes leveraging smart technology in the public adjusting space is the way of the future. Jack Hanks, thank you for coming to the Entreprenudist Podcast.
What's up, man? How are you? Thanks for having me.
Man, hey, if it got any better, I have to hire help. And I'm so glad that you came, and I'm so glad that you're taking the path that of scaling that does require hiring help in a lot of different spaces. Is there nothing that you know now that you wish you knew when you first started?
Oh, God. The problem with our industry in general, man, Randy, you know this, is there's not a lot of training for PAs. We get our license and we just start. And if I could go back, a bunch of years, I really feel horrible for the people I started working for. And I probably could have did a much better job on their claims. I just didn't know any different, right? So I wish if I could go back, I wish there was some more training available when I just got my license and I dove right in head first, which is what all of us do. I wish I could go back and fix that and have more training available and have more resources for younger PAs just to go and ask questions and to go and learn from without having to learn as you, like, what's that saying, build the airplane in the sky? That's kind of what we all had to do, right? And it's not great for the industry, and that's why we tarnish our reputations and we tarnish industry as a whole. And I think that's a huge problem. So.
Oh, yeah. One of the sayings that my granddaddy used to say, if was a fifth, we all be drunk, right? Everybody, can look back on a Monday morning and say what a quarterback should have did on Sunday. Same goes for ourselves, but it's about self-awareness and getting better. Now, that said, being in a position that you are, even though you have to build your plane while flying it, you understand that that's not always the best case scenario for the insured.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, it's, they have their hands full anyway. A lot of them just don't understand the process, right? You're fighting Goliath. They have trillions of dollars to screw with you. A lot of people rely on their agent and their adjuster that was assigned by the carrier to represent them, and that's not really how it's supposed to work. And a lot of people don't know the rights. They don't know how it works. They don't understand. They get a check and they call today. Well, there's a lot of money being left on the table just because they don't have proper representation. And that's scary and sad and frustrating. And, the insurance companies control the narrative because we've allowed them to as an industry. And they're smart and they're crafty and they're in business to make a hell of a lot of money, man. At the end of the day, claims are a business. And I think that's where a lot of people and businesses fail. They don't understand that the insurance carriers are here to make money, and they should, by the way. And I'm all for that. I want them to be profitable. At the same time, I want them to be fair and profitable at the same time. That's not always the case, right? So.
Oh yeah, some people call it a double-edged sword, right? You wouldn't have any rights to fight for if you didn't buy the policy to have the rights. And you really got to look at it. And of course, I want insurance companies to still make money too. I'm still a licensed agent. Before I was a public adjuster, I was an agent for over 7 years. So I've seen both sides of it. Now, that said, I see the side to where an insured gets the check that they think is adequate. because they were able to find a contractor to do the work. And maybe knowingly or not knowingly, the contractor had to, quote unquote, cut corners to get the job done. That corner cut doesn't vanish into the air. What usually happens is when that homeowner or property owner goes to sell that property, and a building inspector comes in and observes and documents those cut corners, the money you should have got on that legitimate claim is now potentially being subtracted from your equity when trying to sell your home, or made them back out the deal completely.
Well, I mean, most of our homes and our buildings we own for our businesses are our biggest asset, right? That's why we all work hard, is have a nice home and take care of our families. And that asset needs to be protected. And when it's not, and you cut corners, like you said, that diminishes your asset and your value. And that's a problem. And it happens all the time, unfortunately. It happens all the time. So.
Well, that's why we got people like you to deal with the crazy. When you got on the call, you said it's been a crazy week. And then I asked you, I said, what's the difference between crazy and eccentric? It's your bank account balance, right? So yeah. that leads us into this recent partnership. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What do you call it? Is it called a merger? Is it called an acquisition? What is it called? And does that matter?
Yeah, but we were acquired. I sold 70% of my stock in VPA to a private equity firm, and I kept 30% of my firm. It's a liquidity event, right? So here's the thing: it's new to our world. It's new to public adjusting. We don't sell widgets. We don't build stuff, so we don't have a warehouse full of stuff. So it's a little difficult to put a value on what we do because it's all paper, right? We have a contract, and hopefully in a year we may get paid on that contract, right? So it's been that was the challenging part of all that is thank God Jim, my partner at GavNet, already developed the system to put numbers to what we have. And the reason I wanted to get in early on these things is, number one, I don't trust our industry that much. I'm afraid that some of the guys are going to get in this thing and ruin it for the rest of the industry because, as you know, I mean, public adjusters aren't great. A lot of them aren't great business people. They're not good with their money. They're not good with their running their businesses. They're just in for the next check. And I didn't want to risk that. I'm 59 years old. As you know, I have a family and I have children involved in my business. And I just wanted to take some of the chips off the table now to secure my family and make sure that I'm good to go the rest of my life, which I am. But then again, I'm in this for the long haul too, is to bring this industry up, and we're going to go buy 19 more firms like ours and bring them up and level them up and actually run a real business and run a real industry to compete against the insurance carriers. Now we have, I have money set aside that I can go buy the best experts in the country on any claim, anytime to combat this stuff and to fight these claims. If we deem it worthy, we'll stroke a check for $100,000 for an engineer or $100,000 for a forensic accountant or a meteorology report or whatever it takes to get these claims to the proper finish line for the proper payout. We have that asset now to do that, which is really neat. It's going to, a lot of people on the other side are like bad mouthing these private equity deals. Well, I'm able to compete now toe to toe with the large carriers financially. We did a hell of a job without that before. So I think they're kind of like taken back now that we have Wall Street. Wall Street's smart, right? They understand money. They understand how it works. And we have $220 million worth of claims in our pipeline to go fight now. And I have liquidity and money to do that. And, we're going to be prudent. We're going to be smart. We're not going to throw, against the wall to see what sticks. We take good quality claims. There's a reason we're involved, and we're going to fight like tooth and nail to get every nickel that they're owed, not a nickel more, but the nickel that they're owed. That's the important part right there. Right, Randall? I mean, we want to get them what's fair and reasonable, right? And we're able to do that. And it's been a ride. It was 10 months of my life getting this deal done. The money was the easiest part. That was the easy part to come up with the money part. Hard part was the language of the contracts and the attorneys. And because once again, it's never really been done before, right? So we had to create this thing. How much is the pipeline worth? How much is the brand worth? Am I too involved? You got to be, is it too much Jack Hanks, not enough VPA? It's all these things come into place. We had to take that all into account. We worked through it slowly. and together with them, and they're our partner, and they're smart. They're not public adjusters. They're private equity people. They understand money, and they don't want to involve themselves in our business. They just want to invest money into watch it grow, and that's what we're going to do, man. And I'm excited about it. I wasn't going to do it, and then I started looking at it, and it made a lot of sense for my business, my employees, and for my family. At the end of the day, that's all we're all busting our tails to take care of our family, right? That's kind of the idea. So it's been a ride. I'm not going to kid you, man. It was crazy. So.
And just to go off topic for a quick second, you did mention family, and a lot of reasons why people can't pass businesses down to their family and/or create a liquidity event with their family, just like you did with this PE firm. A lot of times it's because they don't have the professional licenses to carry on that business. But it seems like your children are doing everything it takes to have the professional licenses to, regardless of whether or not you build up another brand and pass down to them or whatever. What do you think has inspired them to get these licenses? And I know your daughter is on the way to becoming an attorney. Is she looking to specialize in first-party property laws?
Well, yeah. So my daughter is in her third year of law school in San Diego, and quite honestly, I think everybody knows, but she's working for Merlin Law out of their Century City office. And Chip Merlin is little story. Chip and I were in Denver 6-7 months ago together at an event, and Chip and I have known each other for years. He's a mentor, great guy. I love Chip. He's just a really good person, right? And he goes, "Hey, your daughter's in law school, blah, blah, blah." He goes, "Give me your phone number." So Chip calls her. "Hey," he goes, "Hunter, this is Chip Merlin. My wife and I are going to be in Beverly Hills on Saturday. Can you fly up and meet with us?" And she's like, "Whoa, yeah." So she flew up. They had a great lunch, had a great dinner. And, Chip has actually pulled her underneath his wing and mentoring her. And she loves his business. I mean, she grew up in it, right? So she's heard me on the phone doing what I do, and the Effenheimers and the F-bombs on off the record to get stuff done. And she's a pistol. She loves it. I think she's going to be great in this business. She a lot of empathy, a lot of compassion, but at the same time, she's a bulldog and she's tough. And you have to be. Mm-hmm. And my son, same thing. He passed his license. He's got his Kentucky license now, and he first claim, $80,000 Safeco claim. He turned around in 3 weeks and got a payment. I was like, he must have learned vicariously, right? So yeah, he's doing great too. And Trevor's going to move to Denver here in March and start our Denver office here himself with a couple of his cohorts, and they're going to run this Denver thing. And yeah, I mean, they grew up in it, and they I think they both excel at the empathy part better than I do. They both really care. I mean, how I am. I get on a claim and it's all business, and I'm thinking about how to get it done. They actually have a heart for the insured, which we all need to have. And so the empathy thing is a big thing for them. And I'm super proud. They're really good kids, really good people, which I'm super proud of, because at that age, I was 26, 27. I was, what bar's up until midnight? How can I get there? And when's the next softball game? And what am I doing this weekend? And they're all about business and taking care of themselves and doing the right thing. And it's really cool to watch them grow up and have a heart for this business. And I think they're going to go a long, long, long way in this thing. And Trevor had some stocks. So he got a nice little check a couple weeks ago to get his life kick started, and he's going to be part of it. And he owns stock in the big picture as well, which is kind of neat. So it's going to be neat watching him kind of grow and kind of learn from all this. He's only 27, and God Almighty, he's got the world. I mean, can you imagine being 27 and having all these opportunities in front of you? It's pretty cool to watch this whole thing. And that was a big reason why I did it too, is to watch their growth and be part of that too. So for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I'm a big fan of nepotism, right? And it has like a negative connotation, but for me, birds of a feather flock together. That's a true statement. And a lot of times when the right people are getting the nepotism, in my opinion, is a favorable thing. How many people can have a billionaire attorney call them and say, "Hey, let's meet in Beverly Hills"? Right.
So here's the thing. My kids know, and Trevor will tell you, and I told him this when I didn't want to hire him, and he's like, come on. So I hired him and a couple of his roommates out of college. And quite honestly, he's probably the smartest thing we ever did. But I told Trev in the beginning, I'm like, dude, I'm going to be harder on you than anybody ever. I'm thankfully he doesn't work directly for me because I'd probably kill him, right? But a lot, and I told him you're going to be a lot more is expected out of you just because of your name, and it's going to be harder, and your path's going to be harder, and you're going to be in a microscope. You can't, if you say something dumb, it's going to be 10 times fold. If you don't do your job, it's going to be 10 times this. And he does great with every once in a while, he's still 26-year-old, 27-year-old kid, right? But 99% of the time he upholds that duty and that he feels a duty to our name and to our business and to himself. He's going to be probably a better PA than I ever was because he learned young. He got the bad shit out of the way early instead of keeping it into your 30s and 40s. So yeah, nepotism is, when it's done right, I think it's a great thing because it took me 30 years to figure out my life, bro, right? I bumps and bruises and misspending and dumb shit and all this bad stuff we all went through. If as a father, right, my duty was to shrink that 30 years down to get them on the road where they get more opportunity, they can do the right thing without having the financial pressure or I've been working since I graduated college, I think May 5th, 1988. I went to work May 7th, 1988, and I haven't stopped, right? I didn't really get a chance to enjoy my life in my early 30s and 40s and even early 50s. And I certainly want them to work hard. I want them to have an opportunity to enjoy their life as well, because there's a balance. I never had any bad. It was 95 work, 5% social. I never had that balance. And if they can get like a 70-30 or a 60-40, they're way ahead of the game. Because money's great, but at the end of the day, enjoying your life and seeing the world and doing cool stuff is part of it too. And they both got to do that. And that's been hugely important. So, and plus it makes you a better person to be more, just to have a better round of education and seeing stuff than stuck in an office all day, just pounding out claims. That's no fun. Right.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And the connection with your family and your family following in your footsteps, that actually puts you in a unique situation. A lot of companies, especially the service-oriented companies, if and when, and I say if, because a lot of business owners never even ask their children, they just assume. But yeah. If and when a business owner asks their children if they want to take over the company, 9 times out of 10, the children say no. It seems like if you ever had that conversation, they would have told you yes. So that puts you even more unique situation that you decided to say, hey, even though I have children that will obviously keep this company going, and I'm assuming that you're cash flowing, private equity companies are not going to put any money in any companies that aren't cash flowing. What made you decide that this is the equivalent to taking your chips off the table instead of going the succession route?
Well, so once again, Trevor's still involved. He has stock, and it's going to be. I'm still my own entity, right? But here's the thing: when I started, I wanted to build a legacy business and have everything turned over to them. But we fought the private equity thing a little bit in the beginning until it started making more sense. And at the end of the day, I do have a obligation to my family and my business to make the right decision financially. At the end of the day, we all get out of bed and go to work to provide for our family. And I was able to cut the timing down and I advanced myself about 10 years of my life financially in one transaction, right? And that's, at the end of the day, that's what we're here for, man. Mm-hmm. Retirement's important. Having a foundation, a liquid and a good financial foundation is the way to do it, right? So we made that decision. It was important. I took my time with it. I found the right niche for us and the right place to put us, and that's what we did. But it was an easy decision. But when the offers started coming in and we found the right place to go, it made a lot of sense financially because, like I said, it's all about risk and reward, just like a claim. The insurance company, they see risk and they're going to pay it. Same thing as a business. It's all about risk. I just took some of my risk and I transferred it to a portfolio of money where they assume a lot of that risk and they paid me to take that as well. So there's a give and take. And now I have an obligation to make sure that I pay them for that risk and I get their money back tenfold. And that's my contract. My job is to increase their net worth on their end as well. And I take that very seriously, right? The better I do, the better the company does, the better their investment does. And it's a full circle thing. So none of it's a lot different. I just have a few more zeros now to play with to get more stuff done on our end, really. You know what I mean? We're going to grow even more than we have, and we're going to hire 4 or 5 more salespeople. We're going to grow the thing more organically as well, and we're just going to keep going and going and going when that makes sense. It's all about EBITDA. It's all about the bottom line and making really good, solid financial decisions. And at that point, my family also, they're behind me, and they, it's just nice knowing that my daughter doesn't have any school loans that when she graduates, or she doesn't be burdened. Like, a lot of attorneys get out of school and they have $500,000 of student loan debt that they're paying back to their 50 years old, where we don't have that. That's a huge blessing too. So just cool stuff like that, but it was a big decision. It wasn't easy. It was hard to go through. The due diligence was difficult. The negotiations were difficult. It was some late nights, some Sundays, some Saturdays, and I was at a basketball. I was at a Suns game when the deal finally happened, and I looked at my wife and I had this look on my face, and she knew, and it was just cool, right? And it was kind of a full circle moment for me, and we've worked our asses off to get this far, and we're going to keep going. And now I have, the pressure's off financially, but the pressure's on professionally, if that makes sense. I want to do even more greater. I want to do better and better and better and better and better. I'm not going to stop here. The foot's even more on the pedal at this point, which is I think why they brought me in, right? They know at the end of the day, I'm a huge type A, huge entrepreneur. I like to do cool things and great things. That's kind of my DNA. So it's cool. I love it.
And that's what I was just about to ask you, because you went over the due diligence phase, and I do want to touch on that. But once y'all decided that most likely you were moving forward, and then actually moving forward, did you run into any redundancies in human capital or staff, and how did y'all deal with that?
So, it was yes and no. So in the process, we didn't. We were pretty lean and mean as we went. I think we have 12 employees, and we're a multi-million-dollar firm. But what I did see was, I don't think we did a great job the last year of developing my team. As we were going so fast, everybody kind of got stuck in their role, if that makes sense. There's a couple people in my office that I think we could have done a better job of enhancing their careers. But the problem is we were so busy. We run 40 or 50 claims a month, new claims every month, right? So what happens is you get so caught up running your business that the people have all this. They're so smart, but they get stuck in these roles, and they could do 10 times better, right? So when we met with the PE firm last week or 2 weeks ago when they came in, and we started talking. We went to each individual. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And forget about what you've done. Where do you want to go with this, right? And that was cool to see them and learn. And I'm like, oh shit, I could have. It's eye opening because like my admin or one of my guys that he wants to be a CEO. I'm like, fuck, that's cool. That's really cool, right? So now we're going to put him on that path to basically, in hopefully 5 to 10 years, take my spot. Let's do that, right? And it wasn't Trevor, by the way. It was somebody else. Even if not in this company, I owe it to him and his family to make him the best opportunity to make him a CEO, either with us or someone else or an affiliate or in this business or whatever. So it was just cool seeing that kind of stuff that, you get so busy in the business, you forget sometimes that there is more to do and more to do and more to do, right? And that was kind of eye opening. So it was neat. It was neat seeing that actually. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, because that's one of the. I'm a big fan of a book called Traction, and that's one of the benefits of hiring based off core values. Because even if somebody's doing, if somebody's doing well in a position, great. But if somebody's doing terrible in a position, if you hire them off core values and they just don't work in that position, you can find another spot for them. But it sounds like what you're saying is they were doing so good that you didn't think to put out a fire. Meanwhile, it was smoke because maybe they weren't fulfilling their best, what they feel was their best capacity, and might even eventually leave without you knowing that it was a problem.
Correct. Yeah, we did. I mean, there's a lot of potential in that office that we saw, but we didn't put the fuel to it. Right. We didn't add gasoline to their engine as fast as we should have. And that's on us as a business owner. But once again, you get so caught up in running the business, you forget to do that sometimes. So I learned a lot through this process. And that was, at the end of it, that was kind of the neatest part, is when I sat down with everybody, and we sat down with everybody like, hey, what do you want to do? And like, they were giving me these grand, cool answers. I'm like, hell yeah, man. Because now we can do that, right? I can reinvest in them, and I can put them in different platforms, different positions to grow and grow and grow and grow as humans. And that's what it's all about, man. Doing claims is easy. The hard part is getting the right people involved. That's the secret sauce, right? That's the secret sauce. So,
and that is the secret sauce, but that is also what might sometimes deter investors there, because it's easy to open up a company that's simple to where you can train essentially anybody to do it. It's another to find somebody. Not only does it require a license, but it requires comprehensive, out of the box thinking. It requires a lot of emotional control that might deter people. So, it might, make it to where your earnout has to be bigger, because they say, hey, it's no way that we can operate this company without you. Therefore, there has to be some type of trade-off when you start talking about exit. What about your exit are you able to share?
Well, I have a 5-year contract. I'll be 64 years old. And then hopefully in 5 years, we'll be able to 10X this thing. That's the idea. Like, we're going to go in and buy more firms. We have a proven process of how we handle claims. We have a proven process how to get claims. So hopefully, what I've noticed in this business is the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of people call and want to be part of it. So we're going through, NDAs and due diligence on a lot of their firms. And there's just a lack of, there's a lot of guys doing it great, but they're not able to scale because they're the adjuster and the sales guy, right? And you can't do both, because you bring in 5 claims, guess what you're doing the next 3 months? Working those claims. So they get stuck in the same pattern, and they're, it's like their money's like this. Zoom, 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 zoom. So we're able to go in and fulfill some of those voids for these guys. And that's what we're seeing is, my exit plan is to grow the thing in 5 years. I'll be 64. Jim, my partner, keeps joking that he's going to make me stick around another 5 years, but we'll see. If I'm having a good time, I really enjoy what I do, right? So it's fun. The industry has treated me with. I've grown up in this industry. I have great friends. It's been, my family's benefited financially. It's been great. But yeah, I have a 5-year plan. We want to acquire between 18 and 20 more firms, and then 10x what we have in our EBITDA, and have another liquidity event at that time. And that should be some life-changing cash for all of us. And I'll make my decision. I want to continue, or my wife doesn't want me at home in 5 years. Maybe I'll keep doing it. I don't know, so we'll see. But yeah, I committed 5 years of my life to another 5 years to grow this thing to the biggest, baddest, most well-run public adjusting firm in the history of the world. And that's what we intend on doing. Pretty big words there. But with the team we have and the assets we have, I think we have a pretty damn good shot at it. So.
Oh yeah, and you used the term liquidity event a couple of times, and for some people, it's the first time they heard it. Is when you take a typically illiquid object and you extract some cash from it, and a lot of businesses are illiquid their entire lifespan, and unless they get acquired, unless there's an IPO, or unless even a partner dying, depending on how things are set up, is considered a liquidity event. And if you're not funded correctly, that liquidity event could be enough to break a company, right? Because let's say you have a buy-sell agreement in place, but nothing to fund it. That's when things end up getting liquidated. Were there no surprises? Because a lot of times people get that letter of intent, and to us, it's to me, a letter of intent is the equivalent of getting a public adjuster contract signed. Yeah. The work that you didn't just win, the work just started. Is there nothing that surprised you during the due diligence process?
So that's a great question, because our letter of intent came last May. Okay. And we closed 2 weeks ago. And quite frankly, our letter of intent and our final deal were very, very close, right? However, getting to there was a ride, man, because they literally, when I say the private equity firm, they're taking a microscope to your business, which they need to, because they're investing cash. People, you're talking, there's It's pension plans, and these are people's investments, right? They're taking that money and dumping it into your business. And man, talk about a microscope into every little nuance of your business. And I think that's what people don't understand. It's cute and fun, all these videos I make on Facebook about these big claims, right? But that's just 1/bazillionth of 1/10 of 1% of what we are, right? So surprises. I was surprised how, man, every transaction was looked at, man. Like, hey, when you bought this Red Bull in Florida in 2026, you know what I mean? It was like, I'm being a little over the top, but yeah, but everything was looked at, right? And it was neat looking at your business that way. I'm much smarter now than I was 6 months ago on my stuff. But yeah, as far as surprises, I was surprised. The financial part of it was the easy part. The hard part was the contractual part. As far as I have an employment agreement, right? And that was difficult because I'm an entrepreneur. I do things my way. And I mean, we're keeping 95% of what I do, but I'm going to tweak that other 5%. That was the tough part. It was a lot of that moving parts and a lot of, your ego has to go away because in the day, it's all EBITDA. Like, what is your EBITDA and how can we multiply that? How can we 10 times your EBITDA in 5 years? That's what it's all about, man. So, instead of flying first class for $1,200 at noon, I may have to fly at, 8 o'clock at night for $600 now. So it's stuff like that. You have to give and take because at the end of the day, I'm an investor in my own company now. I'm an investor in the fund, right? So it's all about the bottom line while still maintaining your integrity and your empathy and you're running your business at the same time. So that was difficult. And negotiating the contracts were a little bit difficult because the attorney. So keep in mind, my attorney's job was protect me from everything that could ever go wrong. Their attorney's job is protect them from everything that could go wrong. So our final agreement is 186 pages long, our final contract, right? And it's every possible worst. And you start talking about these worst case scenarios, and it's just like, well, that's never going to happen, right? Well, 1/10 of 1% chance it may. And if you don't address that in that agreement, that 1/10 of it's going to happen sooner or later to somebody, right? You just don't want to be that guy, but you have to address it. So there's some tough language in there for both of us that we have to adhere to, but that's his business, right? Because if I screw up, they need to make sure that they have a way out with me. And if they screw up, I got to have a way out. So all these things, but nobody goes in. It's like a marriage. Nobody intends to go in and screw things over, but inevitably relationships are hard. Marriages are hard. Business is hard. Claims are hard. So you got to protect everyone's interests equally to make sure that the field is, I mean, a good deal is when it hurts a little bit for everybody, right? It's never perfect, but you got a little squeeze here and there, and you walk away shaking hands. And thank God we had a good rapport the whole time, and we had a really good attorneys on both sides getting through it. And they listened to me, and they listened the PE attorney listened to them, and that was difficult because the attorneys are there to worst case scenario, right? Like if I get hit by a truck today, what happens? Or if I get a paper cut, I mean, all these scenarios come up, and that was challenging, difficult, but learning. And the cool part is now we have a model, right? So we know what it's supposed to look like. So going forward, we could take the model that we did with our firm, and it won't be a cookie cutter. Everybody's a little bit different, right? If a guy in Florida is going to have a little bit different than a guy in Oklahoma or whatever. So we can take the foundation of these contracts we've built and now put them in different spots and just tweak them a little bit. I bet hopefully the heavy lifting was done because it was a lot. It was expensive too. I'm not going to kid you. Our attorney fees were so. People don't understand too. As I bet we're in this thing to get the deal closed. I bet we spent $350,000 to $400,000 to get it closed. That's not private equity money. That's VPA money, right? That's my business consultant, my accountant, our attorneys, all that stuff was part of it. And there's some huge checks that had to be written throughout the process. And I think a lot of guys don't understand that. You don't walk in and get a check, right? You have to invest in, you have to get your business at a really good spot to sell it, to be able to sell it. You don't just walk in and like, oh, this is cool. Here's my QuickBooks. Doesn't work that way, man. You got to get a lot of smart people to take your stuff and make it presentable so it makes sense to it. Because these guys are they don't know public adjusting, right? They're investors. They don't know what a claim looks like. So you have to find people to be able to paint that picture in their language. It's basically, I speak English and they speak Bulgarian, and you got to find a way to translate what you do into Bulgarian. That's difficult, man. That's very difficult. So, rewarding.
Difficult but rewarding. The highest form of compensation is communication, right? And a lot of times when you think people, when I say that to people, they're like, well, what do you mean? I say, well, even when it comes to building a roof, unfortunately, who's the lowest paid person on that totem pole? It's the person that's driving the nail in the shingle, unfortunately, or however you look at it. And the same can be said, well, who are the highest paid people on that totem pole? The person that actually knocked on that door, the person that's owning the company, the one that's communicating between the subs and the homeowner and the property owner. The way you communicate makes things better. So would you say that's the value that you bring, and is that your role, your ability to communicate?
I think so. I think one thing I'm pretty proud of is I do a lot of stuff on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and stuff, and I do it first. I still do that myself, and a lot of guys aren't who they are on Facebook and in real life, and hopefully I take pride in when people meet me, when I'm talking to you, or I'm talking to my kid, or I'm talking at a trade show, or I'm on stage, or I'm doing a podcast, or whatever. Or I'm on a claim, I'm the same person, or at dinner. I hope to God I come across very authentic and this is who I am, man. And I think that's what translates. A lot of people aren't who they are. And it's a problem in this industry, especially. So being authentic and be able to communicate that authentically and not pull any punches and be smart and let people know what you're all about, man. Don't be afraid to challenge or disagree or ask questions, but do it professionally and cool. Don't go down their throat and say, I don't get it, man. What are you trying to say? And I think that lacks in our industry quite a bit. People always want to be right. And man, come on. I mean, a good manager, a good owner is right 51% of the time. The other 49%, we're learning and listening and absorbing stuff. And I think that's where a lot of people fail. They die on the sword to be right. I'm not like that, man. When this deal was going on, man, I was the dumbest guy in the room, because I've had people going through this their 50th time and their 30th time, and they understand the process. I listened and I learned. And I asked, the attorneys are like, what do you want to do here? I'm like, well, what should I do? What would you do? What's the, you tell me, because I don't know, man. Right. And that's my consultant was involved in that too. Like, you've done this 50 times. What's the right way to go here? How do you position this? And it's all communication. I was a communication minor from college, and I learned a few things. I wasn't a great student, Rand. I was not a great student in college, but a couple of things I did learn. My communication professor, my junior year, taught me communication's free. It doesn't cost you a nickel to respond to a text, email, phone call, letter. It's free, and we don't take advantage of that. A lot of people, they blow off emails, phone calls, texts. I'm like, come on, man. People are reaching out for a reason. You owe that to them to at least communicate. And if you don't know the answer, that's okay too. I mean, I don't know. I'll find out, right? That's all they want to hear. And I think we shortfall ourselves. That's when people get pissed. They don't communicate, or they don't respond, or they don't do this, or they don't ask questions. They just assume. And man, sometimes you can come across, you can portray something you're saying and be saying it wrong. And next thing you know, you're all pissed off at me because it came out wrong. I misspoke. I'm sorry. Here's what I really meant by that. Communication is a big, big deal. And everything is so fast food now. And you get three sentences to get your blurb out. And, and if you mispost something on Facebook, the world comes to an end, right? Everybody's like, oh my God. Come on, man. We all need to let's all give each other a little bit of a break, and let's just be good listeners and be good humans. And it all goes down to communication. And there's nothing wrong with that, man. There's nothing wrong with asking questions or not understanding. None of us are geniuses, bro. We just need I don't walk in your shoes. You don't walk in mine. And respect is a big thing. And that comes down to just listening and learning and communicating 100%. That's a long-winded answer, but yes, communication. So.
Hey, it makes sense. We were talking about communicate. Why not over communicate and to explain what it means? And speaking of over communication, based off the situation that you have, 180 plus pages isn't over communication. But I think a good takeaway from what you just shared is, even if you're dealing with a small business, you need an agreement that at least covers the 4 Ds, in my opinion. What are we going to do as partners? when it comes to death? What are we going to do as partners when it comes to divorce? What are we going to do as partners when it comes to disability, and what we're going to do as partners when it comes to dissolution, right? Because what if you have a partner to where y'all split things 50-50, and all of a sudden that partner becomes disabled? They can't do what they used to do, but they probably still deserve something, but there's no written agreement of how you would handle that. Or even with divorce, you got a partner that just went through a divorce, and because you didn't put in your operating agreement that if one of us is going through a divorce, the shares will go to the remaining partners and revert back to them after the divorce. Now all of a sudden you forcing another liquidity event, the wrong type of event. Is that when you look back in retrospect, because and to your point, even when I thought I had a reason to not like you, Jack, you just so charismatic and charming, right? It was like every time we see you, it's like I just melt, right? Like right? It's like, all right, here, Jack, great. Like let's have a conversation with Jack, and then that your conversation, the feeling that you give. It really stays with a person. How do you communicate? Do you not have any specific way of communicating to instill that feeling when you meet people at these events? And I think the last event that I saw you at was the Level Up Claim Summit put on by Galen with Insurance Claim HQ. What's the reason you go to those, and how do you instill that feeling every time?
Well, I mean, so we have that nonprofit. We go to Galen's events Galen's a board member of the nonprofit. We go every year. I mean, the thing is, what I try to do is I speak from my heart, and I really try to, because no one's had a perfect life. We've all had stuff go on, and I really try to portray real stuff and really who I am. And like I said, hopefully the idea is if we have a glass of wine at dinner and it's just you and I'm the same person that's in front of. I'm talking to 500 people or whatever. I mean, I want to make sure I'm authentic, because I think authenticity and being real, man, and fessing up to your mistakes and your bullshit we all have is so important. Because, I mean, I just learned I don't expect people to be perfect. I just want them to be respectful and to learn. And there's so many judgmental stuff going out there, man. And nobody knows the life I led or you led up until this day. And quite frankly, it's nobody's business. But I think we all lose sight that we all have a path, and sometimes the path is a little bumpy and a little rocky. And as long as you come out of that, you're a good person. I think that's important. I just try to portray that all the time, and I really try to be available and listen and be genuine. This may sound a little cliche. I really try to treat the industry with respect and do everything I can to bring the industry up. And people are like, "Oh, you're full of shit." Well, I really mean that, because I think the better the industry as a whole, the better PA you are, the better pay we are going to be, because you're going to affect change as well. I mean, the reason why all these changes hit our industry is because there's so many bad public adjusters out there that don't really give a shit. And they ruin Florida. You live in Florida. The laws are horrible there. And that's our own fault, because we didn't adhere to being good professionals, being good people. And they were in it for a quick buck. But you got to be just really, what's that old saying? People don't know how much you care till they know how much you care. And it's just, that's kind of how it is, man. I want people to understand that I do give a damn about the industry. I care about my business. I care about my family. I care about my friends. I care about my acquaintances. I care about our vendors. I do. And that's important. I'm not just saying that. I hope I actually portray that and I live that, because talk is cheap. And at the end of the day, you know who you can count on, who you can't count on. And I think hopefully we're one of those groups that you can count on when we go and get stuff, and we'll help and do whatever we can to make people, to bring them up a little bit. And we really try to live that, man. I mean, this industry has done amazing things for me financially, emotionally, professionally. I owe a lot back to it, and I really want to make sure that's a thing. And I want people to understand that I believe in that wholeheartedly. And it's important, because we didn't have that when we first came in. People were just trying to get every nickel they can. And but if you believe in the industry and believe what other industry can you actually help people or businesses? It's the David and Goliath story, right? We're David, they're Goliath. We can actually do that. We win a hell of a lot of, we do really well on our claims. And at the same time, you can make a hell of a lot of money doing it the right way. What other industry has that? The empathy and the success, all that stuff, the freedom, we have all that at our disposal, and a lot of people don't take advantage of that. They're in it for the next thing and they make the next buck, and they take shortcuts, and it's just not like that, man. It's if you do it right and breathe and understand and learn and develop. I mean, I'm a perfect example of that, man. You'd have told me 10 years ago what's going to go. I'd be like, no way. And now it's like my family's set, and secure, and it's cool. And we didn't take. I mean, we have all our licenses. We don't take shortcuts. We pay our bills. We did it the hard way, and it pays off. It really does. So,
Next to last question, Jack.
okay.
Let's say I own a public adjuster firm. How do I know if I'm one of the firms that you're looking to bring on?
Great question. Couple things. Number one, I don't want any bullshit. I don't want any headaches. I want authenticity. So it's a 50-50 thing. It's actually a third and a third and a third. It's where you're at and who you're at and how much you're worth, right? All those things have to have play in it, because if you're a $10 million firm and you're an asshole, I ain't gonna work with you. We don't need it. I don't want any headaches. We don't want to bring people in to our tent and have to babysit them or stroke their egos, or either you're on the team or you're not. And this is a team. We're going to develop a big team. And the problem is a lot of our entrepreneurs, we all are, you got to be able to adapt to that a little bit. Like me, I'm one of several people now, not just me. There's a group of us, right? And it's important that I treat them with respect as well. And I work as hard for them as I do for myself. So that's a big thing, is be a team player. Understand your role, understand your limitations. And then a big thing too is where you're at. If I don't need 15 guys in DFW, we just don't. There's just not enough work there. We need the good people in DFW. And that, at the end of the day, did you run a good business? Is it profitable? Is it clean? If you have 33 lawsuits and you're getting fined by the state of Texas for your licenses, we want no thanks. We just want a clean show, people who give a damn and run a good business and able to work hard and adapt. That's the key. And that's not everybody in this business. There's a lot of smaller firms that fit the mold better than bigger firms. A lot of bigger firms that fit the mold better than smaller firms. But it's just about the fit for us. And there's 4 or 5 different platforms out there. Each one of them is completely different, and this is completely different ideas and folks involved. I'm biased. I think ours is by far the best, but I'm sure they all think the same way, and they should. But we're looking for the best and the brightest is what we're looking for. So,
and what? Okay, that's what you're looking for. But what do I get? Let's say I am what you're looking for. What do I get for joining you?
Well, you get to take chips off the table. You get to put your risk on somebody else. You get some financial rewards up front, and you get to be part of a big team. I mean, I own a lot of VPA stock, and now I own a much smaller stock of a bigger portfolio. So it's a financial gain, right? If you're smart with it, you're going to do it right. You're going to make a lot of money doing it. That's the gain is being, do you want to be you want to be on the Yankees and win a lot of World Series and make a great living, or do you want to play for the Marlins and be the best guy on the Marlins and never step the playoffs? That's what you got to have to figure out. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great PA firms out there, but I mean, this is different. We have claims that are $35, $40 million claims. We have consistently $1 million claims going every day. It's just a different world. And I enjoy that a lot better. We do a lot of residential stuff as well, but it's just a different, you level up and you level up and you level up. And quite honestly, the bigger claims are a little bit easier to manage because their expectations are set. They're business owners. They understand. Insurance companies are much more able to pay because there's a risk involved for them. They don't want these things going to court for $1 million turning into $4 million. So this is a different world. So there is a good financial reward, and there's growth. There's a million opportunities. When you start merging 15, 20 firms, there's a bazillion new positions that pop up that you don't even think of. There's transition and all kinds of stuff involved. So it's very challenging.
I can imagine, but I think they got the right man for the job. Last question. What is your definition of success? To
be able to go home every night and go to sleep and be able to sleep well. knowing I gave it everything I got that day. I did that day. And that's not saying we're perfect. We make mistakes, but I'm able to go home every day and have dinner with my wife and go to bed and not worry about doing dumb shit. I'm able to go to bed knowing I have a clean conscience. I busted my ass. I made the best decision I could with the information I had, and I'm going to go forward. Once again, we still make mistakes. Stuff goes wrong, blah, 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 blah. But we don't do it with a bad heart. And I think that's success.
Jack Hanks, are you successful?
That's a great question. So the last couple of years, my life really took a different turn about 3 or 4 years ago when I really started feeling that I am worthy of success and relationships, and I'm worthy of being a good person. When I started realizing that, that's when I met my new wife, and my kids started being exceptional, and my business took off. Once I learned, I was able to accept that. That's when my life turned. So yeah, that was a big moment for me. So yeah, I do feel that 100%.
Perfect. I want to thank you, Jack Hanks, for coming on. Please tell people that's listening, that's watching, who you are, what do you do, and how they can get in touch.
Jack Hanks. I am president of VPA Claims. My phone is 480-766-6565. I believe the entire industry has it, so I'm not shy with that. Email jack@vpa.claims. You get a hold of me anytime. If you have any questions about private equity, claims, mergers, acquisitions, large loss, anything y'all need, give us a call or an email. We will help you guys out and answer these questions, because that's what it's all about. And I really appreciate you coming on, man. I've known you for almost a decade now. I think you're at the first Skipton training, weren't you, about 10 years ago?
Yes. I mean, I don't, man, dang, that's a long time by now, because I distinctly remember knowing nothing and feeling confident to close some big deals because you were willing to, give me that confidence that if I had any questions, concerns, or requests, that I could reach out. So, I mean, definitely, I was at that. If it wasn't the first Skipton training, it was one of the first ones.
I remember that. Yeah, for sure. That was great. Yeah, a long time ago, man. Long time ago.
Absolutely, man. So once again, I want to thank Jack Hanks for coming on the Entreprenudist Podcast, a place to hear real entrepreneurs and business owners bear it all. I am your host, Randolph Love III. And you heard it once, you heard it twice. Come back, because it's very nice at the Entreprenudist Podcast. Talk to you soon.